everyone, and welcome back to my Liquid Chrome Nails channel. So today we're doing something a little bit different. You might have noticed in the thumbnail. That might be why you clicked on it, and maybe you're just curious to see what I'm up to. Don't blame you a bit. This is a little bit different. So this is a video podcast. Basically, this is what you're going to be looking at, and we're going to go through subjects that I feel like are important to us as nail technicians. As professional nail technicians. Bear with me, this is the first one. I have some more professional equipment on the way, but I really just wanted to get to it. So today I'm recording. I am going to try to edit. I've never actually edited other than a little bit of spoof stuff that I kind of filmed yesterday. So let's just see what we can do. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. If you like this kind of video, please give it a thumbs up, because that is what allows me to know what you guys want to see. So the reason behind this little podcast idea is I like listening to these. I find myself listening to them, whether it's on the podcast apps or Apple Music, Spotify, or even here on YouTube. Reason being, I can set my iPad or whatever I'm listening through on the counter. I can let it play, and I don't feel the need to watch it. I will even do so when I'm doing my nails. I'll just set this down, and if there's a podcast on, I don't have to stop working and look at it. I can just listen. So I thought it would be kind of cool. I hope you enjoy this. This won't be the only type of video I do. I will be going back and forth between my regular videos and these, but I'm just really hoping that this is something that you gather at least a little bit of information from. And like I said, if you do gather some information from this, please give it a thumbs up. It means a lot to me. And you can even pop a comment down in the comment section of maybe what you would like to hear me talk about in the future. Maybe we can start an open discussion with things that are bothering us professional nail technicians right now. So, without further ado, let's get started. We're going to talk about perfect nail structure today. I feel like a big problem right now within the nail courses or the nail schools is they're teaching girls how to do, or teaching technicians how to do really great nail art and really pretty things, and that's wonderful, but they're not really teaching us how to do a perfect nail structure, a nice long-lasting nail that is less likely to break or lift. I find that it seems like newer nail technicians are having a really hard time troubleshooting, and that's a sin. I really think that's a sin. So I feel like maybe through avenues like this, there are tips and tricks that you can pick up to help yourself in your daily business in the salon. So let's get started. So let's talk about C-curves first. So the strongest shape in the world is an arch or a cylinder. Arches can support more weight than other surfaces, and this is the reason why people pinch the nail. So your C-curve can make or break a nail quite literally. So even just a slight C-curve to the nail will create a stronger nail. Some techs believe in pinching each and every nail. I, in the salon, do not pinch. There's multiple reasons. I don't feel the need to. I don't feel like my C-curve is where any problems that I have in the salon lie. But some people were taught to pinch each and every time, and that's fine. There are reasons why you shouldn't pinch or shouldn't pinch too far. It can damage the nail plate, but I think that comes from knowledge as well. You need to just know what you're dealing with and know how far you can go. Sometimes that's a point that people like to argue, is the pinching of the nail, but I'd like to know what you do down below in the comments. If you pinch, or if you agree with it, or if you disagree, I would love to start a conversation about that. So the next point that makes a really strong, good, perfectly structured nail is balance. So your nail is kind of almost like a teeter-totter when it comes to your apex. This runs into your apex and stress area too. So if the very tip of it, or if the very end of it is too heavy, if your height is too far forward, whether it's because of growth or whether it's because of just bad placement, that is going to cause a problem. if your stress area or your apex, let's call it your apex, is too far forward towards the free edge, and your client hits that nail, it's going to lift up or it's going to break almost immediately. That is not helpful. I know sometimes it's a little bit more difficult for me anyhow to put the proper apex on a shorter nail. But as they grow out, that nail really needs that apex. Another thing to remember when you are constructing a nail is the white of your French tip should never be longer than the pink. Ideally, your pink should be 2/3 of the nail and your white should be 1/3 of the nail. It's something I always go through in my head when I'm doing a French, 2/3, 1/3. I'm always saying that to myself. And that is from way back. There was kind of rules that I learned way back when I first started, and it was this 2/3, 1/3 kind of thing. So again, your apex, it's the thickest point of your nail enhancement, and it really should be placed right where the nail would break if it was naturally hit. So if you have a longer nail, your apex is going to be in a different place. But this is also why when your clients ask, well, why do I need to come back in 2 weeks or 3 weeks? Why can't I come back in 5 weeks or 6 weeks? You can explain this to them. You can explain that apex is going to grow out, and that it's going to be in the wrong area, and that the nail is likely to break or to lift, and you can't help that. That's growth. That's something that they need to come back, and they need to have that done for their fill or their rebalance or whatever you happen to call it. So when we're talking about a perfect nail structure, your lateral structure is also something that you need to look into. Your side walls, whether they're straight, whether they're too thin or too thick. Every once in a while, when a tech is right-handed or left-handed, you'll file a little bit stronger on one side of the nail or the other. As a tech, you need to look down the barrel of the nail and make sure that that's not happening. I know that's something that I was guilty of and really still have to pay attention to as to whether you have filed heavier on one side or the other. So that really is something to keep an eye on, and that also affects the curve of the nail that we talked about, the C curve, and that is a good way to look down the barrel of the nail and see if you have your stress area, your apex, in the proper spot as well. So the perfect nail is really kind of, in the eye of the beholder. Some people really like to look at a nail that is square, that is long. Some people really love to look at a nice oval or a nice almond-shaped nail. But regardless of what shape you're doing that way, you just really need to follow certain guidelines with care and attention to make the nail so that it is not going to break or to lift on your client. You want to be making the strongest nail enhancement possible. There are techs out there that don't believe that they need to finish file. I personally disagree. If you are so good that you don't need to ever finish file, I just can't imagine that happening. I know I'm going to have maybe 1 or 2 people disagree with me here, but I do think that every single nail needs to be finish filed, regardless of how long you've been doing it or how well you think you've put on that product. I mean, you do need to put the product on in a manner, I always tell students in workshops to put the product on as if you hate to file. And that is an absolute truth, but it doesn't mean you don't need to file. You put your product on as if you hate to, but you still finish file that nail. Even if it's a light buff, you always need to finish file to make sure that there aren't any lumps or bumps. Okay, so that is wrapping up the first ever Liquid Chrome Nails podcast here on YouTube. I really hope that you've enjoyed this and that you've taken away some pointers for your next set of nails. Please give this a thumbs up if you have enjoyed it and leave me some comments down below, and I really hope you have a great day.